When the legendary Kawasaki Z1 was unleashed in 1972, the world had never seen anything like it. 900 cc's, 4 cylinders and double overhead camshaft. The bike press went wild over its awesome engine, its sure-footed handling and handsome lines. By the standards of the day, the bike's performance was spectacular, and it would be another 3 years before even Grand Prix bikes produced significantly more power. 20 years on, its power and agility may not seem quite so remarkable, but time has done nothing to fade those stunning good looks. In 1992, Kawasaki launched the ZR1100 Zephyr, a direct descendant of the Z1 and designed to recapture the spirit of the world's first and some say finest superbike. Later in the program, we'll compare an original Z1 to its modern counterpart. But first, let's take a look back at the birth and growth of a living legend. In 1967, the idea of building a motorcycle with a large displacement, 4-stroke, 4-cylinder engine was the daunting task facing Kawasaki engineers. This was to be the beginning of the Kawasaki Z1 Super 4 project. Kawasaki's aim was to produce a machine with not only style and panache, but a creation that would symbolize the Kawasaki range and carry the company banner through the 1970s as the big brother to the 500 H1. In early 1967, Kawasaki engineers set about creating a high-performance engine within compact dimensions and an inline traversely mounted air-cooled engine of 750 cc's with double overhead camshaft top end and a wet sump. This was the first time that an engine with these specifications had ever been manufactured by the Japanese. Kawasaki had made big-capacity 4-stroke motorcycles before in the shape of the 650W, which was basically a rip-off of the old BSA A10. However, the decision to make the Z1 with double overhead camshaft represented a major step forward in motorcycle engineering. By September 1968, a complete wooden mock-up existed, and Kawasaki were watching the sales performance of Honda's single camshaft CB750 with keen interest. A year later, the project got the official thumbs up, and the bike was scheduled to be in production within 2 years. However, not to be outdone by Honda, Kawasaki insisted on changes to make the target specification more ambitious than ever. The engine had to be capable of revving to 10,000 RPM, it had to be mechanically more sophisticated than anything else ever produced, and the capacity needed to go up from 750 to a whacking 900 cc's. By 1970, the Z1 frame was progressing with the aid of early design sketches. The intention was to give the bike the image of a lightweight sprinter with a low seat height and an easy riding position, despite the necessary bulk that an engine of that size would have. By the end of 1970, a prototype was ready for testing, and in spring of 1971, Akihiko Kiyohara ran it at the Yotobi test circuit. Inevitably, there were a few teething problems, but these were soon sorted. Finally, one of the prototypes was ready and gave a blistering performance, producing 95 brake horsepower and clocking 141.68 miles per hour on a time run. After more testing, Kawasaki knew that they had made the right decision to go for the wet sump and double overhead camshaft. The Z1 was finally revealed to the world at the Cologne show in September 1972. After this, it went on to Paris, Oslo, the USA, and in November at Earls Court, London. Basically, the Z1 was to set a new standard for high-performance motorcycles and redefine the meaning of superbike. To help the Z1 jump into the North American market, Kawasaki sent 3 machines to Daytona, Florida in March 1973 with the aim to create a historic event that would make the world sit up and take notice of their new baby.
In March 1973, Kawasaki brought this motorcycle to Daytona International Speedway for a 3-day assault on world and American performance records. The prime target? The world 24-hour speed and endurance mark, the supreme test of motorcycle engineering and dependability. This is the story of those 3 days. Tuesday, March 13, 9 a.m. Riders, mechanics, officials, and 3 Kawasaki Z1s prepare to challenge Daytona. For 3 hot, humid days and 2 foggy nights, they will be alone in this famous stadium, known for its ability to test and punish man and machine. 2 of the Zs will be used to challenge the world 24-hour speed and endurance record. They're as close to showroom stock as speedway conditions allow. The standard 903 cubic centimeter double overhead cam 4-stroke 4-cylinder engine, carburetors, frame, mufflers, PCV valve, air cleaners, ignition, lighting equipment, brakes, instruments, all stock. The only modifications are for comfort and safety during the 24 straight hours of riding. Heavy-duty shock absorbers to withstand centrifugal force during banking, low-slung handlebars, and racing tires to handle the grueling heat. A third special Z1 will be used to test the world single-lap closed course record and the world 10 and 100-kilometer records. Although it's slightly modified, this machine is still considered stock by the rigid standards of international competition. Modifications include minor adjustments to the engine and a fairing to break the wind. There's no change in displacement. It's still the 903 cubic centimeter power plant.
We thought we'd like to interrupt the film at this point in time just to bring to light the little eccentricities that the American word stock incorporates. The bike that they say was stock carried the following modifications. Standard cams reground to give more lift. Inlet and exhaust ports were flow tested to give better and more efficient breathing. Racing valve springs were installed, as were K-in carburetors and a 4-into-1 exhaust system. This engine was pumping out 105 brake horsepower at 10,000 RPM against 82 brake horsepower at 8,500 RPM of the standard motor. Now that really was stock, wasn't it?
Most of the day is spent preparing for the shorter record runs. These revolutionary new motorcycles have already been proven on the highway. But how will they do at sustained high speed on Daytona's steeply banked oval, where G-forces compress shocks, gluing bikes to the pavement, with track temperatures in the hundreds, where every moving part must perform to the absolute limit of endurance? By 5 p.m., everything is ready. Yvonne Duhamel, Team Kawasaki's top road racer, and the Special Z will challenge the world single-lap closed course record. Duhamel takes the Z around the 2-mile oval wide open. Even the mechanics are amazed by the power of this motorcycle. Kawasaki engineers designed the Z900 to give the touring rider with a passenger and saddlebags full of gear the power to pass quickly on the open highway. On this clear track, the Kawasaki Z1 demonstrates that awesome power.
Time 56 and 21/100ths of a second. The speed is 160.113 miles per hour for a new world's record. Came out exactly.
Duhamel has taken a Z1 around Daytona faster than any rider has taken any motorcycle, stock or otherwise, around any closed course. But the celebration is brief. The night will be spent preparing to pick up other records before the attempt on the big one, the 24-hour. Wednesday morning. Today, the Kawasaki Z1 will pit its power and reliability against the world's 10 and 100-kilometer marks and against more than 2,400 miles of asphalt to beat the world 24-hour speed endurance record.
Everybody ready? Okay.
At 7:20 a.m., Duhamel brings the special Z1 onto the track. Together, they will challenge the 10 and 100-kilometer world records. Top speed on the straights nears 170 miles per hour. The Z1 is not only a smooth, powerful motorcycle, it sounds like a powerful motorcycle. And then, making it look easy, the Z1 breaks 2 more world records. This incredible motorcycle has gone faster. For 1 lap, 10 kilometers and 100 kilometers. Faster than any other motorcycle of its type in the world.
Okay, everything's fine. You got a record. Out a checker flag. Beautiful, you did it. Hey, you thought that was a checkered, huh?
Now the challenge is to go farther. 8 riders, the 2 standard Zs, and 24 hours of hard road. The 2 motorcycles are given a final checking over. Representatives from the American Motorcycle Association certified that the Zs are within the stock classification. 9:33 a.m. The 24-hour challenge begins. Riders maintain a 120 mile per hour average to reduce tire wear. But that speed doesn't begin to challenge the Z1's limits. As Cycle Magazine put it, horsepower flows from the Z1's engine like water from an artesian well. It simply never stops. Every 70 miles, the riders come in for gas. At 120 miles per hour, the Z1 averages about 24 miles per gallon, less than half its normal cruising mileage.
5 miles, something around there.
The day passes quickly. The 2 stock Z1s perform flawlessly, lapping Daytona's torturous 2-mile oval with authority. As sunset nears, track temperatures drop and the pace increases. The Kawasaki Z1 is breaking dozens of records on its way to the 24-hour mark. So far, so fast.